you are ready for another recorder lesson. But where's Casper? He's missing today.
I am fine, thank you. Casper isn't here today because he went to visit his granny. He's very sorry that he's missing today's lesson, but after all that talk about family, he wanted to see his granny again.
Well, I'm glad that you could make it and that you can help me with this lesson. Can you remember what we did last time?
Oh, yes, I do remember. It was about the tortoises and how they were comparing their steps.
Yes, there was Grandpa, who takes so very long to take one step. He represents the whole note, and it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 counts before he's finished with one step.
Yes, and Granny always goes slowly, slowly, slowly through the garden so that she can admire the beautiful flowers, which means she takes 2 steps every time Grandpa only takes 1.
Yes, and then there is Mommy Tortoise and Daddy Tortoise. Both of them go walk, 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 which is like the hop, hop, hop note. And sometimes Mommy Tortoise goes click, clack, click, clack when she's wearing her high-heeled shoes. Yes, and Mommy Tortoise takes 2 steps, while Granny Tortoise only takes 1 step.
Yes, and then there are the children. They always have so much energy. Tommy and Tammy are always running. But then their legs are also a bit shorter than those of their parents. So every time the parents only take 1 step, they take 2.
Well, we've been talking about long notes and short notes, but in music we also get high notes and low notes, and that is what I want to talk about today. For example, when Daddy Tortoise goes into the shower, he likes to sing, and when he sings melodies that go up and that go down, and he sings with a nice low voice because men normally have lower voices. Unlike Mommy, when she sings in the kitchen while making the breakfast, she sings in a higher voice than Daddy's, but her voice won't be as high as Tammy and Tommy's voice. They sing in high soprano voices, whereas Mommy's voice is in the middle somewhere. She has an alto voice, and Daddy will be a tenor, or if it's early in the morning and his voice is still low, he might be a bass voice. We also get instruments that are high and instruments that are low. Miss Piggy, why do you think some instruments sound high, like Tammy and Tommy's voices, and some instruments sound low, like Daddy's voice or even Grandpa's voice? I was looking at my books again, and I've actually brought some books from my bookshelf. Maybe the pictures in these books can answer our question. Have a look at this picture. Here is a picture of woodfolk having a party, and one of them looks like it could be the cousin of our tortoise family. Don't you also think so, Miss Piggy?
Oh, yes.
And at a party we usually have music for a festive atmosphere and for those who want to dance. Here on the stage we have the musicians. One of them is playing a trumpet, and to the side over here we have one playing on a tuba. Why do you think the one playing the tuba is sitting down, Miss Piggy?
The tuba looks very big and heavy. I think she has to sit because it's too big and too heavy.
So you would agree that the tuba is definitely bigger than the trumpet.
Oh, yes.
Let's hear what they sound like. A trumpet and a tuba. Which one sounded high like the children's voices, Miss Piggy?
The trumpet.
Which one sounded low like Daddy's voice?
The tuba.
Over here we have a cricket behind our trumpet player, and the cricket is playing a drum. I happen to have 2 drums here today. One is big and one is small. Can you see which one is the big one and which one is the small one, Miss Piggy? You are going to play on the small drum.
Oh, yes, I'm going to get a chance to play the drum this time. I will have to tell Casper about it.
Miss Piggy, I want you to play hop, running, running, hop on your small drum. And I will just play the beat. I'll just go hop, 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 hop.
Okay, here goes. Hop, running, running, hop. Hop, running, running, hop. Hop, running, running, hop. Hop, running, running, hop.
So what do you think, Miss Piggy? Which drum sounds lower and which one sounds higher?
The small one sounds higher than the big one.
In another picture over here, the folk in the woods are having a music concert. Just look at all those interesting instruments. I am sure that we will find some that are high and some that are low. What about these 2 instruments? This beaver is holding, among other instruments, what looks like a recorder. And he is standing next to a very long instrument. It is so long that 2 musicians are blowing on it. Can you see that, Miss Piggy? I wonder what it is. Maybe another clever book can answer that question. Here I have the Music Encyclopedia for Children. Let's find out if it knows. It is an Alp horn. They play this instrument in the Alps, in the mountains in Europe. Which one do you think sounds lower, the Alp horn or the recorder? Let's find out. This is a recorder. And this is what an Alp horn sounds like.
The longer or bigger the instruments are, the lower they play. The shorter or smaller the instruments are, the higher they play.
Here at the back, in the middle of the orchestra, we have another interesting looking instrument with what looks like a whole lot of different pipes. It's probably a homemade pipe organ. They actually remind me of a row of recorders of different lengths. And that, Miss Piggy, brings me to the family I want to introduce today. Here they all are, seated in a row, Miss Piggy.
Oh, how exciting! How exciting! And thank you for joining us for our recorder lesson. Welcome, welcome everyone. Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
If you have a look at this recorder over here, Miss Piggy, that is the one that you play. It is called a soprano recorder, or we also call it a descant recorder. And next to it, on the left, there's a recorder that's even shorter. We call that a sopranino recorder. And it plays even higher than the one that you play. On the right-hand side of your recorder, we have what we call the alto recorder, or the treble recorder is its other name. And that is quite a bit longer than your recorder, isn't it? And then next to our alto recorder, we have the tenor recorder, which is even longer than the alto recorder. And I guess the alto would be Mummy, like Mummy Tortoise's voice, and the tenor would be like Daddy singing in the shower. And then next to Daddy, Wow, we've got the longest recorder of them all. We call this a bass recorder, and it has a very low sound because it's so long and big. Shall we have a listen to all of those recorders? Let's start with the one that you play, Miss Piggy. You know what it sounds like. Now let's compare it to the sopranino, the littlest recorder of them all. And let's go and listen to the alto recorder, which is a bit longer than your recorder, Miss Piggy. That has a beautiful mellow sound. Yes, I do think it sounds rather like Mommy when she's singing in her alto voice. And now for the tenor recorder. Goodness, I have to stretch my fingers quite a bit for this recorder. Right, and now, this is exciting. We're going to play on the bass recorder. Because it's so big and heavy, I've actually got something to help me hold it. I'm going to hang it over my neck. Wow, that has a beautiful sound. I wonder what the lower notes sound like. So, that was our family of recorders. Just like with the other instruments, the smaller or shorter the instrument, the higher the sound, and the bigger or longer the instrument, the lower the sound. And Miss Piggy, if you think that this is the biggest recorder in the world, you're wrong. There are bigger recorders. In fact, there's a group of musicians that call themselves the Royal Wind Music that own the biggest recorder in the world. And I think you'll be surprised at how big it is. That's why I would like you to go and watch a video clip on this group of musicians playing on their recorders. They make beautiful music, and then you can go and check out the biggest recorder in the world. So I'll include a link for you. Speaking about small and big or short and long recorders, we can also do high and low notes on our recorder. If we only close one hole, we actually have a very short recorder. The wind that I blow in already comes out of this hole over here just below the first hole, which makes the recorder this long. If I add a finger, it becomes a little bit longer. So the air has to travel all the way to the third hole before it can escape, which makes the note a bit lower. And if I close another hole, my recorder becomes even longer because the wind has to travel to the hole after my third finger, the fourth hole, before it can escape, which gives us an even lower note. So Miss Piggy, what do you think? Which one is going to be the higher note? If I close only with one finger, or if I close 3 fingers?
The one where you only close one hole.
Yes, let's compare it. 1 finger, 3 fingers. Now we are going to build and play a song in which we combine the short and the long and the high and the low notes. First, in our first row, we are going to use 2 dong notes, and it's going to be a low row. So we are going to use 3 fingers. In our second row, we are going to have 4 hop notes. That row is going to be high, so we are only going to use 1 finger. In row 3, we'll bring in our fast running notes. So we'll have 2 pairs of running notes, 2 hop notes, and they are going to be in the middle. They are not going to be high, they are not going to be low. So we are going to use 2 fingers for a middle sounding note. And in our last row, we're going to be back at the bottom. So we'll need 3 fingers for our longest note, which is the whole note. 4 counts. Let's see what that sounds like. There you are. Long and short, high and low, and even a note in the middle. I have included a mystery song for you. It has all the notes that we have learned, the long and the short, the high and the low. See if you can work out which song it is. It is a very well-known song. Have fun trying to work out the answer, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next time. Goodbye.